most of you know still I am Vishal Verma, and I have been asked here to talk about analytics a little bit. And I am here because I love to talk and promote analytics. Okay. I am a big promoter of analytics because I think that with analytics we can do wonders. Okay. Now let's understand what is actually the business analytics. Okay, so everyone wants the mute all or wants to have an interactive session, or you can unmute when you have you want to do.
I think that will be better.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you have the option with you. If anyone wants to unmute, they can unmute themselves. Okay, first thing first, business analytics is or analytics is not at all a rocket science. Okay, why I say it's not at all a rocket science is that I come from a biology background. Okay, so most of the people who knows analytics a bit do knows that it's basically more into mathematical background and mathematical calculation that takes into consideration. But I come entirely from a biological background, and those who are into biologic, who comes from the biological sciences background, they would agree to me that we were the people who were always said that maths is not possible for us. Okay, and we were treated as the person who cannot understand mathematics or who are not interested in mathematics at all. That was your usual definition for all the people who comes from the biological background, biological science background. Okay, now there are other people who come from uh, arts background, who has done degree in English literature, economics, geography, sociology, psychology. There are people who comes from the BCom background. Yes, they have a little bit of test into analytics, and they have done a little bit of statistics. But people who are coming from the arts background, or what we call as the Bachelor of Arts, they usually do not have any background of statistics other than psychology people who have done their done their graduation in psychology. Because in psychology, yes, statistics is a large part of psychology, BA psychology. Okay, before why and again about that is what I am a person who comes from biology background. At the same time, one of my friend who is working in a very big organization as a data analyst, she comes from English literature background. Okay, so whatever the background you are coming from hardly matters. It's just about having a patience, interest into numbers. That's it. And we HR, whether we like it or not, most of us are into HR. Okay, so we like it or not, we deal with the numbers every day and out. Okay, so basically what is business analytics is? Analytics is basically the integration of statistics, technology, and the business context. Okay, basically what we saw as it uses the advanced statistical and machine learning algorithm to derive the insight from the raw data. That is, this is the basic and the core definition of business analytics, and this is the fundamental of business analytics, or whatever you say. So basically, if you see this as a stool, okay, so we have got three legs. One is the statistics, another is your business context, and other is your technology. So the entire the backbone of business analytics is on the basis of these three pillars. Okay, so it is business context for HR people. Business HR becomes our business. For sales people, sales is a business. For marketing, it's marketing as a business. Finance is the business. So anyone, basically whatever the business we do is basically, or the work we do is our business. Okay, so why business context is important is the two part of that. One is that you need to ऑफिस का काम कर रहे हैं. Okay, so when we have the business context. Okay, now business context is basically when we are talking about the business context. Business context means two sense. One is that what is the problem that just hang on a moment. So we have the HR business. So basically, we have to know about what HR processes are there in depth and what are the problem areas. Okay. So if we do not understand HR in depth, for example, we are talking about HR analytics. If we are talking about HR analytics, so we need to understand HR, depths of HR, all the processes of HR very well before entering into business analytics. Now the second part, what we call as the statistics. Statistics is where we have done when we did our MBA classes. We did our statistics. We did mean, mode, median, regression, correlation, everything. So everything, a little bit of rework on all the processes that you have done. Okay, I will not ask you to entirely go into high-end elastic net regression or polynomial regression. Okay, but start if you want to go enter into the field of business analytics, start with basic statistic and open up your book. Okay, there are we never cared about thinking about statistics in when we're doing our MBA. Personally, I never did it. Okay, so what we actually did is to mug up the definitions of mode, median, standard deviation, and so on. Mug up some of the examples. Okay, and when the examination of statistics used to happen, we just used to write that and give the example, and we used to pass the examination. That actually what I did. I will be very honest. I did the same way. Okay, but yes, a little bit of when I was interested into business analytics or HR analytics, I dig deep into statistics and understood many terms again. Now the third part is technology. Okay, technology basically when we are talking about business analytics and technology, it talks about the computational intensity. It's not about talking about programming. It talks about whether you can write a language or write a code. You're not the person of a person HR analyst or business analyst or marketing analyst. These are not the people who write the code. Okay, but we are concerned about the computational intensity, how fast the calculation can take place. If the computational intensity is if you can the intensity is good with using Excel is fair enough. If you want to go with R, you can go with the R. If you want to go with the Python, you can go with the Python. If you want to go with Hadoop, Pig, Spark, whatever thing you want to. Okay, so basically when we are talking about technology, we are talking about computational intensity. Be clear in your mind when you are working or you are trying to enter into the arena of business analytics. Technology does not mean your language understanding or you are writing a code. When we are talking about technology, we are talking about the computational intensity, how fast the calculation can take place. Okay, if we do a calculation, if we're trying to find a regression analysis manually, if we're going to do with around 5,000 data points, okay, it will take for us, it will take not less than 1 or 2 days to finally come up with the regression equation. While if we do that same in Excel, it will take approximately 4 to 5 seconds. When it comes to R, it will again 3 to 4 seconds. Python 3 to 4 seconds. Okay, so basically when we are talking about technology, it's talking about the computational intensity. We are not writing the program. I am again and again telling the thing. When you are working as a data analyst or a data scientist or a data engineer, yes, you are writing a code. Okay, code to improve the computational intensity. Okay, So when we are working as a business analyst, we are basically concerned about technology as a computational intensity. Okay, so what is business analytics? Is basically what we yeah.
विशाल जी यहाँ पे एक छोटा सा सवाल पूछ सकता हूँ क्या?
हाँ,
मैं देवांजन हूँ, तो ये इसमें स्टैटिस्टिक्स में बेसिकली अगर हम लोग शुरू करना चाहें अभी फिर से, तो एक कौन-कौन से टॉपिक से फिर से एक बार रिवाइज करना शुरू करना अच्छा होगा?
I would suggest start from first thing, that is mean mode median. आप वहां से स्टार्ट करो, ठीक है? देखो आप जब स्टार्ट करो ना, होता क्या है कि हम लोग जब भी स्टार्ट करते हैं ना, हम लोग सीधा हाई एंड पे जाने की कोशिश करते हैं, ठीक है? That's our general tendency. But I would always suggest start from the scratch as if you know nothing. ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत हम लोग को सबको पता है. मैं एटलीस्ट कभी स्टैट्स को सीरियसली नहीं लिया था, ठीक है? Although I was the topper of statistics in my college, लेकिन statistics उस टाइम अगर मुझे पूछा जाए तो मुझे कुछ नहीं आता था. हाँ, मुझे ये पता था कि कौन से पेज में क्या डेफिनेशन लिखा हुआ है, और मैं डेफिनेशन को बहुत बढ़िया से मक करता था और जाके लिख देता था. आई वाज वेरी ऑनेस्ट, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है मेरे को, ठीक है? लेकिन आज मुझे पता चलता है मुझे सारा बुक वापस से निकालना पड़ा था, और स्टार्टिंग से मैंने फर्स्ट पेज से जब आप स्टार्ट करते हो, और आई वुड सजेस्ट एलिमेंट्री स्टैटिस्टिक्स आप स्टार्ट करो, ठीक है? इफ यू आर स्टार्टिंग in trying to enter into this field, go on elementary statistics class 11 या 12 का बुक है of NCERT. Okay, so start with elementary statistics, ठीक है? बिल्कुल बेसिक्स में जाओ. बेसिक्स अगर आपको याद है सारा कुछ तो वेल एंड गुड, यू कैन मूव अहेड, ठीक है? अगर याद नहीं है, कहीं पर भी थोड़ा सा भी कंफ्यूजन है, go back to the basics, start from there. I did it the same way 4 years back.
Thank you.
Okay. So basically what we do in business analytics, we transform the raw data into useful information. On the basis of that useful information, we do forecasting. Okay, because the name of our discussion today is basically on predictive analytics. Okay, and Susmita has given very good image that whether there was a ball and the a lady with the what is that ball? I do not remember the name of that ball. Okay, so he is just doing something and then saying that your future will be like that. Okay, now that future, I will also again say that the future prediction is on the set of some variables. Okay, so जो भी आपका the person जो आपका हाथ देख के बोलता है या आपके पत्रा देख के बोलता है, they are basically working on some variables. Okay, and on the variables they are making some prediction. Now how accurate that prediction is on the basis of understanding of the behavior and the predictive model that the person can develop from those data, okay, or understand the data. Okay, so working on the same, we have to forecast, predict future, the customer behavior or whatever we want to do. Okay, now data mining is one of the very important tool of business analytics, that is searching for the hidden pattern. Okay, so for example, when I talked about the person who is forecasting your future, okay, is he able to understand the hidden patterns behind your different lines on your hand, or he is able to identify the different combination on your patra? Okay, if he is able to understand and the hidden pattern behind that, then he can do a better forecasting. Then he is a good data miner. Okay, and once he is a good data miner, he can come up with a very good predictive model and say, yes, today or tomorrow that will be happening. Okay, now again said that it helps in decision making and it improves the strategy. It helps us improving our strategy of working the thing. Okay, again I would say to give you a brief of that, say for example, when we wake up in the morning during the rainy season, okay, what we do is to just open up the Google weather or AccuWeather, whatever the application we have in our mobile. Okay, check whether there will be a rain or not. Okay, if there is a rain, what we do, we just carry an umbrella with us. Okay, but the prediction of the AccuWeather or the Google Weather 100% correct every time?
No,
No,
not always.
not
Not
always.
always.
Okay, but just in case there is a rain and the prediction is right, okay, and you are ignoring the prediction made by Google Weather or AccuWeather, whatever the the application you are talking about. So basically, when you are not ignoring that prediction and you are not carrying the umbrella, okay, and if there is a 50-50 probability, 50-50 chances of rain or not rain, okay, and the prediction given by the Google Weather or the AccuWeather is that there is a 70% chances of having a thunderstorm or rain, okay. So when it is happening, basically basically what is happening here, that when we are ignoring that prediction, we are not carrying that umbrella, because there is a 30% probability that there will be no rain. That is why I am ignoring that prediction and not carrying the umbrella. And if the rain comes, I will drain down in the rain. But if I accept that prediction and carry my umbrella, okay, there is a only one thing that is possible, is that there will be an overweight in my bag because of umbrella. But if there is any rain, I am saved. If there is no rain, okay, then there is also not a problem in carrying the umbrella. So basically, predictive analytics helps us to understand so whether that will be rain or not. But we know that if in case there will be a rain, okay, then we will be talking about we will be getting we carrying umbrella will help us not to get wet because of the rain. Okay, I think I have shared I have shared two images of today's of the COVID details of India. Have you seen?
Yeah, we have seen.
Okay, so basically
Yeah, I have seen.
that was
I
from
have
the
seen.
discussion, that was a press release from PIB that given during the daily press release that comes up in the news, that is. So I just clip the picture from there. Okay, so I'll come to that and explain you how the prediction and everything is there. Okay.
Vishalji, sorry to interrupt. Perhaps Onurita is trying to log in. Can you just find out?
I am not finding any person who is not logged in. Everyone is there. Are 16 people here.
Okay, because Shushmita has mentioned Onurita is trying to log in. I can't find Onurita.
Because no one is there in waiting room.
But
Okay. Oh,
getting that waiting message, she's not able to log in.
So maybe because of the user ID password, that can be the reason.
okay. I'm just checking. You please continue. I'm just checking.
Okay, so now when I've said about what business analytics is all about, at the same time, I would also tell you what business analytics is not. Business analytics is not about efficiency matrices or scorecard. So whenever we have HR analytics courses or anything like that, everyone talks about how we'll build the matrices. Okay, business analytics is nothing about matrices. Okay, that is there, has been there in long. Okay, and we have been doing that since yesterday, or since last 5 minutes earlier we have been doing on our matrices. But that is not business analytics. That is not scorecards are not business analytics. Okay, scorecard is not about alignment. Okay, scorecard is not about gap analysis. Again and again, business analytics is about understanding that pattern, and on the basis of that pattern, can we derive some information that will be useful for getting us the insight and improve our strategy. Understanding this gap in the strategy or the gap in gap analysis is not the work of an analyst. They have to just see the data, see the pattern of the data. Okay, and once you are doing your diagnostic analytics or you do your descriptive analytics, you can see the pattern. You start after working for another 2-3 months in analytics. You can, whenever the data comes before you, you will be able to visualize that the pattern that is there. And once you can understand the pattern, you can say on the basis of that pattern, yes, this is the strategy we can adopt for that. Okay, it's not about correlation. Okay, we use correlation as business in business analytics or HR analytics or any analytics we say. But let me give you an example why I say that it's not correlation. Okay, so when we are talking about a store, we know that in a store, if the employee is motivated, okay, sale of the when the employee is motivated, okay, the sale of the store is high. Agree with me, everyone? Okay, it's a general tendency. We say that the employee motivated, the sales, the overall sale of the employee store is very high. Okay, but is it necessary that the store sales of the store is, yeah? Yeah, someone was saying something.
नहीं okay.
Okay, so basically when we are saying that there is a correlation or between employee being highly motivated, there is a high probability that the sale of the store will be higher. Okay, but is it mandatory or is it necessary that the sale of the store is higher? It has a direct impact on the employee's motivation, or are the employee motivated on that basis because the sale of the store is higher?
No, it cannot be said all the time.
Okay, so when we are talking about correlation, we talk about that one variable, the impact of one variable, whether it is growing or decreasing, increasing or decreasing, has an impact on the other variable. Maybe it's a increasing or decreasing order, but there is a relation between the two variables. But we see that one variable here has got a relationship with the other variable, but the other variable has not got the relationship with the first variable. That is why we say that analytics is not about correlation. Have I cleared this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
analytics is not also about benchmarking. Benchmarking, what we do is that we do the salary benchmarking in a case of HR, or we do the marketing sales benchmarking of the different environment or different marketing strategies based marketing strategies and so on. So basically it's not about, again, it's not about benchmarking. Okay, benchmarking of course is an analysis, okay, but it's not analytics, because most of the data that is on the basis of assumption. Okay, benchmarking, most of the data are in case of assumption that this is happening. Okay, but whether it is correct or not, we do not know. Okay, we work on assumptions. Okay, so before we dig deep into analytics, okay, yes, increasing the strategic impact of analytics require the development of increasing analytical capability in your organization. That is one of the fundamental requirement. And when I talk about increasing the analytical capabilities in your organization, means you have to increase the capability of the person involved in HR analytics about understanding the business context. The person should be great, or increasing the understanding of statistical knowledge, increasing the understanding or the complexity of the computational intensity or the technology. So when we are talking about development of increasing analytical capabilities, means all the three part of the business analytical tool should be growing up. Okay, this must comprises of the strategies, people, processes, technology, and the data okay, and so on.
Vishal ji, hello.
Hmm. Yeah.
Vishal ji, I just had a question. I'm Chinhita.
Yes.
Can you just explain once more why benchmarking is not a part of business analytics? My take is like if somebody is doing benchmarking on the best key practices,
Hmm.
okay, so that is actually happening. I mean, that is a reality. The company, maybe
So
on the global level, there are some policies which are being benchmarked with the
okay,
local policies.
when
So
we are talking about benchmarking, okay, we are
mhm.
fixing up a platform. Okay, so for example, compa ratio, calculating of a compa ratio, it's also a benchmarking procedure.
Okay.
Okay, so when we are talking about compa ratio, is compa ratio impacting the business strategy as it's on?
Okay.
Okay, if it is not impacting directly the business strategy or the outcome of the business, okay, it will be treated as not much importance for as a business analyst or business analytics or business analyst or business analysis, whatever you say. Okay, the fundamental of business analytics is that we need to understand that whether there is a correlation, there is a relationship between whatever we are doing in analytics, has it got a direct relationship on the impact of the business strategy or the business outcome. Okay,
Okay.
benchmarking
Okay.
actually gives us an array or improvement area, okay, on a particular small process, not overall business context. That is when we are using the models of business analytics. There are two models that are basically used. Majority of the work are done using two models. One is the LAMP model, that is lightening up the lamp. Let's talk about logic, analytics, measures, and processes. Another is the SCM21 model given by Jack Finch and Inge. Okay. Both of them talks about the business impact. If we do not have the impact of all the behavior that is taking place, it is not becoming the part of the business analytics as a whole. Clear?
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So basically, we start with the business reporting, okay, or sales reporting or anything. Okay. So I would not agree to anybody who says that those who are working as if now in the current situation, whether you are working for a 2 years experience or 5 years experience or 10 years experience, you are not doing business analytics. You are doing business analytics, although the capability of the analytical capability is not improved, but yes, you are doing the analytics or the business analytics, whatever you say. So even if anyone who is also preparing the MIS or the dashboard is also doing business analytics. Okay, so those who say that the other people who are not well defined under the category of business analyst or HR analyst are not an analyst, I would not agree to that. Each and every person working in an organization are analyst. Okay, but of course the capability of identification or understanding the pattern will increase when you use more sophisticated tools, technology driven, or more use the statistical software. It will give into more detail. But yes, if you are making a dashboard, you are doing analytics. Okay, so the basic data or the basic business reporting or the basic information or the dashboard that you are making is business analytics or HR analytics. Okay, you cannot even if I am working as an analyst, I cannot say that I will not prepare the dashboard. That's the part of my job. Okay, that is why when the person who is making a dashboard is also an analyst. Okay, but the level differs, and the more complex work that the person is doing, then the analytical capabilities goes on higher. Okay, so basically the components of the analytical capabilities is that you need to understand the strategy. Okay, degree to which analytics is integrated with the strategy development and decision making and execution. Okay, now putting benchmark here, okay, it does not gives us the direct implications of the strategy. Okay, when we are talking about people, to extent to which we have got some time. Okay, let me be fast. Extent to which there is a critical mass or the personnel required, training is required, of course, for business analytics, not because you do not know analytics. Okay, just because you need to brush up all those things. Okay, that's why I told you. Okay, open up your books, open up the notes that you were having in your MBA classes. Okay, थोड़ा सा उसके ऊपर से धूल झाड़ो, ठीक है, सब चीज वहां पर है. There's nothing there's nothing, because analytics, you understand, if you understand business, you understand the statistics, you understand the computational intensity, you understand analytics. It's not a rocket science at all. It's very, very easy. Okay, and I guarantee you it's very easy. Those who say that analytics is a very difficult, I would certainly disagree with that, and I always say that analytics is very easy and everyone can do. Okay, that is why I always say that I promote analytics. Okay, everyone can do analytics. It's not a rocket science. Okay, these are some career options. We'll not go that in. Story time. Yes, I would like to give you a story from the business side. Okay, being although an HR analyst, there is a medicine shop nearby where I used to take my medicines for my personal things, because my father, mother, we have huge demands of medicine at our home. Okay, so I was just talking to him and he said that we are quite busy today. I said them, why are you busy today? Well, basically there are many medicine that has expired and we were not able to sell that product. Okay, so I asked them, can you give me some data, let me work it out, and if I can predict something for you. Okay, so I asked them all this. So the data that was available from them was basically the sales data that was given to me. So it took me around 6 months to analyze those data. Okay, put the data in different categories, working on a different hierarchy models, and then after 6 months I came up with a model and asked them, please use this model, and on the basis of this model, work on your inventory system. Okay, and once you are working with the inventory system, do order the medicine to your distributor on the basis of this particular model, not on going anywhere else. Okay, so that happened. Okay, then the person was able to have some money for FMCG product. We worked on the FMCG product. It took me approximately 1 year to develop those entire models. Okay, and currently after working with that small shop, there is no medicine that is being thrown out, because the medicine has expired, because we can predict the sale way ahead and predict what kind of order that is required for. Okay, another part I will tell you about my own personal experience is that we were having problems hiring our GETs. Okay, the problem with hiring our GET was that there were students, we used to hire them, and after 1 year or so they used to leave our organization. Okay, then that was a big problem, because though everyone knows that training GET is a cost associated with that. Okay, so we designed up a model on the basis of different variables that was identified through different interviews, different surveys, and on basis of that we designed up a model, came up with this model, and since last 2 years there is a no dropout in case of our GETs. Yes, many organizations are very upset with us that we are very stringent on our processes, but yes, there is no dropout and work are going fine. Okay, so these are some of our examples that I have done. Okay, stages of business analytics is, firstly we talk about descriptive analytics. So I told you earlier also, everyone who is designing the MIS or designing the dashboard is basically what is we do basically about the descriptive analytics, that is based on what happened. Now diagnostic analytics is basically to review the situation, understand the pattern behind that, and find out why it actually happened. Now on the basis of the different why it happened, we develop the predictive model, and on the basis of my model we say what will happen if this thing happens. And the last step is the prescriptive model. Is basically this entire structure is that you need to understand where your organization is as if now. In case of our organization, we are at the level of predictive analytics, okay, and we are moving towards prescriptive analytics slowly. Okay, now to make it more simple, you go to a medicine doctor. Okay, so when you say go to a doctor asks, yeah, ki hoche? You say that there is a pain in my stomach, or there is throat difficulty in swallowing up things. So what it does is that on the basis of what you have you give up the symptoms, because say for example you say that you have pain in your stomach. Okay, so on the basis of that he will write some test related to say stool in uh, diagnostic, or say related to say, depending upon the what kind of pain it is and where the pain it is, the doctor will write the something for the person to go into diagnostic center and get the problems diagnosed. Okay, so what you go to the diagnostic center. Once you go to the diagnostic center, the diagnostic your depending upon what kind of prescription, your blood report and everything comes up. Okay, stool test and urine test and everything, so all the tests are there. You go to the doctor, and on the basis of your diagnostic reports given by your diagnostic center, the doctor actually identifies and try to understand why there is a pain in your stomach. Okay, now understanding why it happened, why that pain happened, is on the basis of some diagnostic report given by a diagnostic agency or a diagnostic center. Okay, that is what we call as the diagnostic analytics. Okay, so when you see the pattern, you see, okay, on this basis of this pattern or on the basis of certain behavior, this is happening, and because of this happening, okay, now this is the reason why the person is having a problem. Okay, so for example, I diagnose that because of the work-life balance, the employee is leaving the organization. Okay, so why when we talk about descriptive analytics, we said what happened, the employee left the organization. Okay, so when we're talking about our dashboard, we will find that one person left the organization, so attrition rate is so much and so on. So basically we have the MIS that one person left the organization. Why he or she left the organization? We identified that because of the work-life balance. I am not saying because of that, but we identified that that can be one of the reasons why the person has left the organization. So basically that is what we call as the diagnostic analytics. Okay, now on the basis of different diagnostic analytics and on the basis of understanding the human behavior or understanding the business processes, I will develop a model, okay, on the basis of the past behaviors, okay, that happened in the organization. Okay, so carrying what happened and why it happened, I develop a model that will predict what will happen if the work-life balance is less. Okay, if the the person gives a ranking of work-life balance on a Likert scale of 1 to 5, gives a gives the say scale of 3, okay, or a scale of 2. Okay, so what will happen if the person or employee, he or she, gives the ranking of work-life balance, what he or she perceives as to what will happen to the employment of that individual. Okay, so because we know during the time of our diagnostic analytics and developing our prediction model, we know that the employee will leave the organization if the ranking of your work-life balance is less. uh, in trend analysis, the system is linear kind of thing. Yes, there is a trend analysis on that, but when it is single variable, yes, we can talk about trend analysis. But when multiple variables comes into picture, okay, it will give us a different algorithm for that. Okay, and then on the basis of predictive analytics, we know that the employee will leave the organization because of the work-life balance. Okay, work-life balance. So we will give an instruction to the employee engagement our HR department or the HR person who is taking care of the employee engagement activity. Dear, work on work-life balance, because of work-life balance, people are giving a low rank in the work-life balance, and that is why the people are leaving the organization. So you need to focus your strategy on the work-life balance. Okay, so you're clear with the descriptive analytics, what happened, diagnostic analytics, predictive analytics, and finally come leading into the prescriptive analytics. Now, the process of doing the analytics is basically we have the different data sources. The data can be structured, semi-structured, or unstructured. All these data are combined and ingested into a data storage system. And on the basis of from those data storage system, there is a process where we clean the data, transform that data, analyze that data, and visualize that data. Okay. Now, data visualization is very important. As Shavik was taking the session yesterday, where we talked about visualization. Okay, the similar is data visualization. We say story, or we prepare everything on the basis of the data. Okay, if you cannot visualize anything, okay, it does not actually exist. Okay, so or even if let's talk on the business sense. Okay, we have we can have thousands and thousands of data, thousands and thousands of algorithms that we can develop on the basis of different analytics and do the transformation. And is your CEO able to understand those things? I personally do not agree to that. No, Chinjita, there is no level as if now before after prescription, because once you have done your prescription and everything process goes right, okay, it will again impact your descriptive analytics, then go on diagnostic analytics, and go on predictive analytics. It will impact the predictive, and the circle will continue. Okay, that is why the work of HR analytics does not end once the prescription has written, because on the prescription, yeah, the person has worked on the work-life balance, for example. Yeah, because this is a very short course, so I will not be able to go into details of each and everything. Okay, usually the sessions are 30 to 40 hours. Okay, just I will give
Can you speak a little bit more about the data visualization part?
Yeah, I was coming, so I got a question here, so and that was the very good question, so I thought of answering it first. Okay, so when we're talking about data visualization, is that I was just talking about that if you have the lots of data and you have lots of algorithm and everything, is your CEO able to understand that? I don't think your CEO will be interested in all kinds of data, all the Excel sheets and everything. So what CEO needs is that, can you summarize the data in such a manner so that you can say the story of what is happening on the basis of that data. Now, telling a story of what is happening in the organization or in a business context or in a business processes using the data, okay, is called the data visualization. It is very simple term. Okay, again, in the data visualization, we can we use different data visualization tools like tree map. We use heat map system. We use density mapping. We do n numbers of things in data visualization, but that is basically to make the person not go into the backgrounds of all the calculations or all the things that is being done. It's an overview or telling a story of what is happening or what will happen if this thing happens on the basis of data, and that is on the basis of, so whatever the data, for example, we talk about histogram, we talk about bar diagram, we talk about pie chart. Okay, all those are basically the part of the data visualization tool. Okay, so basically when we want to say that how many people are there in say in different department, if I show that using the bar diagram or a column chart, or we're using a histogram, it will be quite easy to people to understand that. Okay, comparatively to, yeah, it is there. Okay, so these are all basically the part of the data visualization. Okay, now cleaning is basically we have many data that are there in our MIS, even in our HRIS, that is not useful for analysis. Okay, we need to get rid of those data. We are concerned about those data that is going to make a business sense. For example, the for our organization or for some organization, distance from home can be one of the factor. For other organization, distance from home does not make any factor. Okay, because the person may be residing inside the factory or the manufacturing unit. So you need to understand on the basis of the data and the pattern therein, whether that data will be the part of your analytical model or not. Okay, that is why we what we call as the data cleaning. And at the same time, we use some statistical function that will help us to analyze or remove those data that was not useful. That is what we call as the data cleaning. Okay, and again in the second part, that is data transformation. There are data which is unstructured or semi-structured. We have to convert all those data into a structured format so that we can use in analyzing that thing. And for analysis, we go for different models or correlation, regression. I'll try to give a brief of that also today. So basically what we do initially is to extract, transform those data and load into a central warehouse where central data warehouse where we can use for that analysis part. Okay, so on the basis of whatever we have done, it's first HR analytics, business analytics is all about visualization, how you can visualize, give the represent the data, tell the story using the data. Okay, I will share one of the Tableau link. Okay, you can just go on Tableau link and see how the visualization of the data can be done using Tableau as one of the visualization tool. Okay, Tableau is one of the visualization tool. Okay, so I will share the link with you. Maybe I will try to share it by today, or I will share it by tomorrow. Okay, so you can click on that link and see how the visualization is being done. It's all about the data. Okay, without data, there is nothing. We have been talking about Zoom. Okay, so what actually Zoom is doing is trying to get the data, whatever we are discussing today in our Zoom meeting. Okay, Zoom is interested, or China is interested in our data. Okay, so it's all about data. Data is the next gold that will be working. So if you have that data, if I have say for example a person organization, say for banking organization, the banking organization, there are two banks, bank A and bank B. Okay, now bank A has got a database or mobile number of say 10,000 people, and bank B has got a mobile number of say for example 2 lakhs people. Okay, now how much people A will be able to reach? Around 10,000, and B will be reaching to 12 lakhs. So the business conversion rate of chances of probability of having the business will be higher with the the bank B. Okay, so that is where that is one of the example why the data is so much important. Okay, now there are various other when we go and dig deep into analytics, we understand that there are different forms of data. There are unstructured data, then there are continuous data, discrete data. There are different forms of data, how the data is collected. There is a process of collection of the data, then how the data is analyzed and everything. So basically in nutshell, it is all about the data. So it's all about visualization, it's all about data. It's all about statistics. Okay, it talks about different statistical models, developing the regression equation. Depending upon what kind of regression we are working on. Okay, so it's all about statistics. Okay, now let me give you an example. Okay, these are the details of the 16 days. Okay, the forecast was that it will be a sunny day, the temperature will be hot, okay, the humidity will be high, and on the basis of that, the child was allowed to play uh, outside or not. Okay, so this is the decision tree. This is one of the process of analytics. Okay, decision tree actually helps in working in the further business or machine learning algorithm that is known as the random forest. The random forest is a high level integration of data. Okay, that is done by the advanced analyst and design on the basis of large number of data and large number of decisions. So basically, decision tree, to make it very simple about random forest, is that you have seen forest. Okay, most of you have visited forest. Okay, so when we talk about forest, there are n numbers of trees in the forest. Okay, so each tree is this what we call as a decision tree, and all this tree combines becomes the forest. Okay, that is what we call as the random forest in machine learning algorithm or higher level of analytics. Okay, so what we have, the outlook is that we have the rainy, or we have the sunny weather, or we have the partial cloud with some, and then we, on the basis of, if it's raining, then you cannot allow your kid to go outside and play. If it is there is a cloudy weather with a little bit of sun, you check the humidity. If it is 90%, then it increases the chances of rain. Okay, so you will not allow your kid to go out and play. If the humidity is less, okay, you will allow your kid to go out and play. If it is sunny, you can definitely allow that person to your kid to go out and play. Okay, so this is just an example of how analytic systems work behind. It is the general context of the things is that, okay, but this is just working with one or two variables. When we work on n numbers of different variables, then we need high intensity of the computational intensity required to do that. Okay, so some of the when we are starting with any you want to get into analytics, I would always say you start with the measures of central tendency, that is mean, mode, median. Okay, so once you are done with that, I would ask you to understand different skewness, kurtosis, ANOVA and everything. Okay, and there's one thing that you always remember, we have been making a scattered plot. Okay, now scattered plot is one of the fundamental plot that is required for any analyst, because that actually helps us in identifying the outliers. Okay, so when you are becoming an analyst, you will understand what outliers is all about. Okay, and on the basis of scattered plots helps us to identify the outliers. Okay, outliers, to make it more simple, is that the person, for example, if you are working on the compensation of all the employees in the organization, there are CEOs and there are peons. Okay, the salary of the CEOs is much higher than the average or the median salary of all the employees. Okay, so if that is becoming the part of your mean or median, that is actually distorting your total behavior. Okay, so that is why we need to identify those outliers, and before going into analysis, we need to remove the salary of those persons, for example, the CEO or the peon, so that our data can be more compressed and work. This is one of the way of also cleaning the data. Okay, because we need to remove those data that is not required for our analysis. Okay, so this is basically about overview of a scattered plot, and on the basis of the scattered plot, we identify two things. One is the correlation. Okay, uh, correlation, yes, identification. Although the correlation is not business analytics, I have told you in the starting, but we identify the correlation because correlation helps us in cleaning of the data. Uh, now this regression is the fundamental of business analytics. It is the most important part. Okay, we have done regression analysis a lot in our MBA classes. So there is a linear relationship, be it increasing or decreasing, or there is a no relationship. What we are concerned about when we are talking about linear regression, because we in analytics basically use initially we use only two forms of regression. One is your multivariate regression analysis, multivariate linear regression analysis, and logistic regression. Okay, logistic regression basically works on the non-linear relationship. Okay, so we have the linear regression. Okay, so we have the dependent variable, that is y1 or y hat. Okay, then we have got the population intensity intercept. I will give you some examples so that it will be very easy for us to understand. Then there is a slope. We have got a question here. Okay, then on the basis of the logistic regression, we calculate the probability of that, and that is used using exponential and everything. I'll not go into much detail of that because that will consume lots of our time. Okay, some other forms of regression is the polynomial regression, Ries regression, lasso regression, and elastic net regression, depending upon the intensity of statistical application that you will be doing. Once you start with, you will be basically using your linear regression and logistic regression, but later on when you will be working on different preparing of different models, you will start with polynomial regression, then go for elastic net, then Ries regression, and then lasso regression. Okay, so that is the usually the hierarchy. Okay, so most of the problem, especially in HR analytics or marketing analytics, okay, these are basically solved using these forms of analytics. Okay, so basically what we call as the regression analysis is to fit the model in such a manner. So when we are talking about regression analysis, we are actually concerned about minimizing the standard error in that. Okay, I'll not go into detail because it will take a lot of time here. Okay, so this is basically the example I have created. So there is a bill being given by the different person visiting a restaurant, and this is the tip that is given. So we calculated the mean of that, and on the basis of that we put the scattered plot. Okay, now on the basis of the scattered plot, we identified that the mean is coming as 740 and 55. So this is basically known as the centroid. Okay, this particular mean is centroid. Okay, so any regression line must pass through the centroid. Okay, this is the regression output or the summary output. Okay, so on the basis of the summary output or the regression statistics, we come to know that this is the coefficient. Okay, this is the basically your B0. Okay, and this is your B1, and this particular R square value. Okay, so I talked about R square value when I gave you the image today. It talks about 0.90 something. Okay, so that is we say the value of the R square basically gives you what is the probability of the chances that is there that my model, whatever I will be building up the model, will be correct. So this is 72% is the probability that whatever I am going to predict will be correct. Okay, so basis of that we just put the values and we predict the tape. Okay, I'll quickly pass it out. Okay, this is basically a manpower planning system that we do for our analysis. Okay, this is a smaller version of that. Okay, so basically this is also known as the Markov analysis. We do the Markov analysis on the basis of that, predict what kind of what will be the supply of the manpower in future. Okay, and on the basis of the different numbers that we'll be getting from our logistic regression and analysis, that these are the probability of the people leaving the organization. We will put them in the probable exits, and then we calculate on our basically our supply, and on the basis of supply we analyze the requirement, what will be the demand of the manpower. If it is same, what will be the demand of manpower in the next 1 year, 2 years, and so on. And on the basis of that we identify, okay, these are the gap analysis, and write a prescription to the recruitment team. Okay, now you need to identify, find out people for, say, for a project manager or project supervisor or engineer. This is a small part that is, this particular, for example, this project supervisor or project manager is broken into different forms: civil, mechanical, electrical, and then on the basis of different. This is just a a quick example to understand, make you understand. Okay, this is basically how we identify the kind of risk. Okay, what is the kind of risk on the demand side, what is the kind of risk that is there in the supply side, and on the basis of that risk we identify what kind of action is required to taken on the basis of that. Okay, so एक सांस में सब खींच के.
Can you just explain the last slide a little bit more?
Which one?
The last one.
This one. Okay, we identify on the basis of the risk factors related to demand. Okay, so whether the demand has got the business impact. Okay, I cannot go into dig deep into these factors. Okay, these are different factor analysis we do. Okay, then we decide on the what will be the future need of the manpower. Okay, and also understand the business volatility. So when we talk about business impact, we talk about degree to which this type of talent has been disproportionate impact on the business management system ability to develop, derive this strategy. Okay, so when we are talking about this thing, basically we are talking about whether the current manpower that we have, okay, is that sufficient enough to say, for example, we know that after COVID impact, okay, there will be lots of there will be lots of changes in the way we work. Okay, so those people who are not actually compatible with the way of working that will be changing after the COVID-19. Okay, will be able to cope up with the environment. So there will be some people who will be not able to understand the changing scenario, while there will be people who will be able to understand the business scenario, because COVID-19 is impacting the business, and the talent pool that you have should be in appropriate or in coordination with the business strategy or the impact that you are having. Okay, so depending upon that risk factor, we have to identify whether that risk is high on the basis of the current manpower, or the current talent that you have with your organization is able to understand or cope up with the impact that COVID-19 or any other organization is giving up. Okay, now on the basis of, we know that the way of working will be changing somewhere or other. We have to accept that after COVID-19, because of the social distancing and everything, we will be changing our style of doing the business. So there will be change in the structure of the, so those organization who were more in the paper driven organization, or every time they used to go and take out the paper, they will be more dependent upon talking on the phone, or talking on the mobile, or doing a Zoom meeting or so on. Okay, so the future will be changing on the whether your current manpower is in line with the future needs. Okay, and because of the external environment that will be changing, whether that is there, and on the basis of that we actually understand, on the basis of whether we analyze our internal internal supply of the manpower, and understand whether that is in line with the supply requirement of the environment that will be there. And on the basis of understanding the risk and the supply risk factors and the demand risk factor, we make up a scoring matrix. And if we find that we are falling in the high risk, we have to find a way and strategize something that will be required to run our business.